I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Lily, who wanted me to talk about Vertigo. But I figure while I will talk about the film, I will also talk about other Alfred Hitchcock movies because, to be perfectly honest and blunt, and I had reviewed this film before but I took it down. I wish I did it in retrospect. I'm not a fan of Vertigo. I saw it a few years ago for the first time. It's considered one of the best films of all time. It's considered Alfred Hitchcock's shining achievement. There's many other films I prefer over this. In Hitchcock's filmography, Rear Window, The Birds, Saboteur, the one from the 1940s, with Robert Cummings, Strangers on a Train. Yes, even Psycho I will put above this. And Psycho grew on me. This one did not. Vertigo, I find it incredibly boring, incredibly dull. I don't care for the story. I honestly don't even care about the characters. Jimmy Stewart kind of comes off as fucking creepy. I'll get to that in a minute. But the other films, before I get to Vertigo, why do I like these other Alfred Hitchcock movies? I do think he's a talented director. I think he's made some classics. Rear Window, I watched many of the films that were inspired by Rear Window, whether it be Disturbia, whether it be a film like Abominable about Bigfoot, but it stars a guy in a wheelchair. A lot of the film is him looking across the way. Disturbia, Fright Night from the 1980s. Definite inspiration is from Rear Window, where you have Jimmy Stewart, he's in a wheelchair, broken leg, can't move much, and a lot of the times he spends with binoculars or a camera, and he's looking at this beautiful lady named the Torso, which looks hot. Guy who plays the piano, other people. And that whole idea of being stuck in one place and viewing the world in the eyes of Jimmy Stewart, and in a way, you can only piece together what you see. You can't hear it, you can't get in much contact, especially back in those days. This is before the days of cell phones, things of that nature. So viewing the world with only the little nuggets, the little pieces of information that you gather just from what you see in the distance. That sort of weird way of being, in a way, a peeping Tom, but a bit more innocent because you're maybe not 100% innocent, but a bit more innocent. Because, okay, back to the day, there's not much to do in the 1950s, not much on TV, you can't go anywhere, he's stuck doing this, he sees someone that might have murdered someone, and that question, did the person murder it, did it not murder it? And I thought that was an interesting story. It was an interesting story to be in the point of view of this guy who can't do much. Most of the time he's stuck within, as well as the movie, he's stuck in this one apartment, going a bit edgy, a bit crazy, We've all experienced those moments of approaching cabin fever. And it was just a more interesting story, and whether it be the love story, this girl who Jimmy Stewart thinks he's not good enough, Grace Kelly. That is a very effective film for me. The way certain shots, the opening shot, where it's overlaying across the landscape to introduce to the audience, this is our feature presentation. This is our canvas that we're going to be witnessing for however many minutes the film is. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember enjoying the film quite a bit. Saboteur from the 1940s. It was cool to see Alfred Hitchcock do... He's done other films, but it was my first time seeing him do a spy type of movie, where he's this factory worker. He's been framed for this fire he didn't start. And yeah, I thought the pacing worked well. It didn't feel boring. I mean, the whole finale on top of the Statue of Liberty was not only nicely done for the time, but a precursor to films like North by Northwest, which is a film that became much more famous compared to Saboteur. I think he did two films called Saboteur. The one I'm talking about was from the 40s. I think he did one in the 30s. Psycho. In a way, the thing with Psycho is I think I don't mind the film. It's just I like Psycho 2 more. And there are plenty of other movies I enjoy more, because with Psycho, in a way, the first half to me is sort of the more interesting movie. Where you have this character, she's not perfect, and just her thinking she's going to get away with this, but she doesn't. And then with Anthony Perkins, it's just Vera Miles and the other characters just did not seem that interesting in the second half of the film. The only interest in the second half of Psycho for me is Anthony Perkins' performance, and some of the way Alfred Hitchcock directed the scenes. It's just the other characters, like Vera Miles, I just really did not care about. But I don't mind Psycho for what it is. It's just there's other slasher films or horror films or Hitchcock films I prefer. Like The Birds. I love The Birds. I love the way he directed that film. Like the bit where Tippi Hedren sits down, she looks over the jungle gym, there's one bird. I don't think and it's just the slow realization that more and more and more birds keep appearing in this jungle gym, and it's not telegraphed with music. It's, oh shit, there's one, there's two, there's five. I'm not afraid of birds, but the way it's done, the way it's directed, not being over the top with music in that scene, okay, that's a nice way of building suspense. And even the action scenes, granted, it's old school, but it still looks interesting with the birds hitting the phone booth, and the way the map paintings were used. It's cool to look at old techniques and old technology. You had, I forget his name, the lead from The Time Machine. He was in there as well. And it was interesting to see Hitchcock do his version of a killer animal movie. But it didn't seem hokey or corny. It wasn't Birdemic or anything of the sort. So these are films, either I'm into the idea behind the film, I'm into the premise of the film, or they just came off as more exciting or thrilling or entertaining. Rope, another film I enjoyed, that also had Jimmy Stewart. What was interesting about that was how he tried to make it seem, and nowadays you see it because, oh, you pass over a wall, you pass over this, but he's trying to make it seem as if it's all done in one take. Or sections of the film is done all in one take. And of course there are tricks to doing that. But again, it's interesting premise, interesting idea, with these two guys trying to think they did the perfect crime, and the way Jimmy Stewart is finding out more and more clues as to, wait, there's something more going on here. And wondering, like, how is Jimmy Stewart going to figure this out with this guy who thinks he's much smarter than Jimmy's character. And then to see that guy get put in his place was satisfying as well. So again, these are films I do enjoy more, like more, Vertigo, I've given credit to some of the visuals, like the nightmare scenes that Jimmy Stewart has. Interesting visuals. But I thought this film was overlong, dull, and boring. I thought that the first time I saw it. I feel that way the same way again. Again, when I say this stuff, people just assume I just want a Michael Bay movie. I just told you other Hitchcock films I enjoy. And I looked at this film, considered one of the best movies ever, the best Hitchcock film. I go, to each their own. Not for me. One of the reasons is I'm not into the story. Not one bit. Now, the story of the film, Jimmy Stewart is Scotty. He's a cop who, at one point, he's going up, something happens, and he gets this fear of heights. So he pretty much has to retire because of that. Well, this friend of his says, hey, I want you to tell my wife, played by Kim Novak. She's acting all weird. He does it. And you get the idea she's not right in the head. He falls in love with her. You do go into, well, is he taking advantage of this person who seems a bit fucked up in the head? So it doesn't really look that great on Jimmy Stewart's part. But this just came off so slow and so boring and so tedious and so snooze-inducing. I did not give a fuck. There's a point she jumps off, tries to drown herself, he saves her. Then, oh, is she being possessed by her great-grandmother? Is all this stuff going on? Spoiler alert for a film from the 1950s. She goes up this bell tower. He's afraid of heights. Sees her body fall to the ground. Oh my god, she's dead. He's sad about it. As he's trying to deal with it, he sees another girl, I think her name is Judy, who looks a lot like this other girl. And then you find the twist where ultimately, and this is where it got a bit creepy, because I don't think he realizes yet. What I mean, you think, because he looks at this girl and goes, wow, she looks a lot like this girl that died. I don't want to obsess and stalk her. That's really what it is, to stalk her. Then there's a point where, could you dress like this girl? Like, that's pretty much what it is. Did you dress like this girl, Kim Novak? This girl I knew, dressed exactly like her? Oh my gosh, it's only after that he realizes, oh shit, that really is her. And I've been fucked over because Kim Novak was Judy, as well as that previous girl, Madeline was her name. And, oh, this is a part of the scheme of this guy, your friend. He killed his wife and needed a way to get rid of the body. So I needed to get in touch with you. You need to follow me and somehow follow me up to here so that I disappear. The guy dumps the body, dressed up the same way I am. Oh, the murder this guy did, it'd be looked at as a suicide with a cop as a witness. But, hey, Kim Novak actually fell in love with Jimmy Stewart's character. And then even the finale, they get to the bell tower, up there again, as, realize he's been lied to. He's a bit pissed about it. Someone opens up, she gets scared, falls out the bell tower. You realize who went up is a nun. Jimmy Stewart looks, she truly is dead this time. She's dead, Jim. He's sad. The movie's over. And I sit there and I go, I don't really understand the whole love affair of this movie. I never did. Well, never. I saw the film a few years ago the first time. It's just, for me, it wasn't... And funny enough, when I looked it up, when this film came out, it got middling, mixed reviews. It's just, years after, then it got reevaluated as, one of the best films of all time. And I'm like, this is some of the original reviews. Once I find it. And I kind of have to, I agree with them, honestly. LA Times admired the scenery, yeah, but found the plot took too long to unfold and felt it bogged down in a maze of detail. Yeah, I agree with that. Variety, enjoyed Hitchcock's direction, but felt the film was too long and slow. Yeah, I agree. And I would put dull on it. And you could say, in a way, this was Hitchcock really indulging in what he wanted to tell in the story. Like, at the end of the day, it's a story of what? Obsession? Okay. A guy obsesses over a girl who fucked him over, and then the girl died. And then realized, no, she's not really dead. She really did fuck him over. It was part of this plot. Oh, now she's truly dead. And he's a bit of a creepy stalker, Jimmy Stewart. I'm gonna stalk this other girl that looks like this girl, and I want you to dress just like her. I know that's the way I put it. But maybe not the way you put it. And that's what I mean. Like when I got the request, I'm like, oh my god, I'm not a fan of this movie. I don't really. This is one of those films where I took down the original review because, number one, I got a lot of shit for it. But also, I just didn't care for the review itself. Right, there's probably not a better review. But again, I just want to talk at least a little bit on some other Hitchcock films, like Rear Window and, Psycho. Anthony Perkins, I think, does a great job in his performance. As a guy that seems like he means well, and seems like the nice boy, wants to do well by his mother, and you just see this guy is just completely fucked up, especially when you get into Psycho 2 and so forth. And The Birds, I think, is a much more interesting direction-wise than, say, Vertigo. Like, I guess for me, like, just visual-wise, I mean, the whole finale where the matte paint's mixed in with all the birds, and how the group had to slowly go to the car, and just, they didn't really win the day. It's just, okay, this is your stuff, just let us pass by. And then you're going back to Rear Window. The way we're placed solely in that room, looking across the way, trying to figure out what's going to... Am I understanding this right, or am I understanding this wrong? Is this person really who I think it is? And the frustration of a person that you can't move much, you can't do much, you can't really get anywhere. No one really believes you. You're not really seeing what you think you're seeing. And that frustration. What would happen if you're stuck here and you perhaps see, again, something I can see myself being a part here. Other than some of the visuals, when he gets vertigo and the way it plays with the color scheme, it did seem... Jimmy Stewart kind of seemed pretty old in this part as well. I don't know, just something about him. Like, he just... For the type of role, like, for Rear Window, it worked. He's a guy sitting in a chair stuck. This one, I don't know, just... I like Jimmy Stewart as an actor. It's just with Rope and Rear Window, those characters just... Either by action, by dialogue, they just seem more interesting for me than this. Or maybe just more likable to me. This character I didn't really like one way or another. I truly didn't. So I know I don't get a lot of hate for it, but I'm more of a Rear Window guy. I'm more of a The Birds type of guy. I'm not really a Vertigo type of guy. I know it's not a deep analysis, So that's why I don't consider myself a critic. To me, a critic to give deep analysis and thoughts and the process of movie making. I'm just a guy giving a random opinion, random schmuck schmo. So don't take my word for it. Again, it's just not my cup of tea. Could never get into the film. Still couldn't. So take that for what you will. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.